kick off this video, let's go over onto Jeff Patterson's tweet over here. Before we read the tweet, let's take a look at the list that he posts as an image on this tweet. This is the Vancouver Canucks all-time single-season point record. Henrik Sedin at 112, Bure with 110, Bure with 107, tied with Alexander McGillney. Then we have Naslund, Daniel. These are the only 100-point seasons in Vancouver Canucks history. Then going further, Bertuzzi with 97 points in 03, Henrik Sedin's 94-point season in 2011, Patrick Sundstrom in the 80s, Bure in the 90s, Naslund in the early 2000s. Then we have Steamer, 2 Gradin years, and Tony Tanti. The tweet that Jeff Patterson puts out reads, with 72 points in 69 games, JT Miller was on pace for 86 points, which would have been a top 15 season in Vancouver Canucks history. But Miller's pace since the All-Star break may have ended up with Miller getting more than 86 points. Regardless, he was tracking for a top 15 season in franchise history and possibly top 10. If you do the math, 72 divided by 69 multiplied by 82 is indeed 85.5, which would have been 86 points. But let's go back to the All-Star break. The first game that the Vancouver Canucks played after the All-Star break was January 27th against St. Louis. Let's take a look at the span that JT Miller was scoring at just in this span, from the All-Star break up until the end of the year. Since the All-Star break up till the end of the season, JT Miller scored 26 points in only 20 games played. That's a 1.3 points per game. If we do the math, 1.3 points per game multiplied by the remaining 13 games in the season, Miller would have been on pace for an extra 17 points, which would have capped him off at 89 points in 82 games of play. That would have been good enough to become the 12th best Vancouver Canucks season ever. 89 points is astronomically high, and compared to what we have seen in the past, we haven't seen anything like this in a very, very long time, actually. Taking a look at what JT Miller did accomplish, though, he is literally the first player since 2015 to get 70 points as a Vancouver Canuck. 72 points is good enough to put him in the same tier as the Sedins in 2015, as the Sedins in 2011 and 2010, and yeah, you get it, it's pretty much all Sedins. The only other player to put up 70 points in the past 10 years for the Canucks that's not named Sedin or Miller was Ryan Kesler, who was also very good as well. But regardless, taking a look at this list over here, just going back the past 10 years, all these guys played 82 games. 82 games here on out. And JT Miller is down here at 69 games. Now, Daniel in 2010 had a crazy high points per game rate, and so did Henrik in 2010, but because of the way scoring is distributed, it is kind of equaled out as the years go on. But for the most part, JT Miller, if he did finish this season up with 86 or 89 points, he would have only been the third player in the past 10 years of Canucks hockey to get 80 points, and the first one to do so not named Sedin. Let's go back even further, before the Sedin years and all that stuff, because if you want to take a look at it, if JT Miller got 80 points this season, he would have been the first player not named Sedin to get 80 points since Marcus Naslund in 2004. This franchise has been in limbo when it comes to having their high point scorers that are not named Sedin. But JT Miller came over here and he proved to everybody that he can be that guy. Now, I don't want to discredit everybody because Elias Pettersson was over here with 66 points in 68 games played. He was probably going to get 70, maybe even 80 as well. But JT Miller was the number 1 point scorer for the Canucks this season, and it's very obvious to see why. The guy absolutely knows how to take control of a shift, and the way he moves, the way he holds onto the puck, he plays with such a high level of swag that it's really, really difficult to throw him off. He plays like such a veteran out there, and when compared to Hughes and Petey and Brock and even Bo Horvat, who he's only a few years older than, you could totally see the physical and mental maturity that JT Miller has out there when he holds onto the puck. Now, I will say, that can kind of sometimes shoot him in the foot a little bit, because when JT Miller plays in high-pressure scenarios, such as overtime or late in the game when the Canucks are trying to tie things up, that's when JT Miller can get really overconfident with the puck. He'll try some really fancy dangles that he doesn't really normally do. Sometimes they work, and it's really dangerous, but at least it works. Other times it doesn't work and it leads to a goal. The other team scoring, by the way. And that's probably the only problem that I have with JT Miller, that sometimes he does get carried away with the puck a little bit, especially when the pressure is high, but it's better to have a player who can be overconfident and who can pull off those moves once in a while than to have a player who just sits there and does nothing, in my opinion. And with JT Miller, the good outweighs the bad so much. The guy came in here as a player that many people, myself included, expected to get about 20 goals and 30 assists for maybe 50 points. That would probably be the max that he would be able to get, right? That's what I thought. That's what I called back at the beginning of the year. I said something like, if JT Miller can come over here and put himself up 50 points, then I say it's a very successful season for him. However, JT Miller came over here and he had a career year, straight up. A career year for JT Miller, 72 points in 69 games played, a career high in goals with 27, a career high in assists with 45. The guy just absolutely tore up the league, and he's only 27. Happy belated birthday to JT Miller. And take a look at the contract, too. My goodness. This guy is signed for $5.25 million until 2023. Yo, we have problems with our cap. We're gonna have problems when we need to sign Quinn, when we need to sign Besser again, when we need to sign Petey. But JT Miller is on a contract until he's gonna be 30. And we have the best years of Miller ahead of us. Imagine that. His first year with the team, he's trying to build chemistry. It's a new organization. The fan base is critical because of the trade, and he comes in here with the potential of breaking the top 10 in all-time Vancouver Canucks seasons. Legitimately becoming the first player not named Sedin to get 70 points on this team since Ryan Kessler, and potentially becoming the first player to get 80 points on this team, not named Sedin, since Marcus Naslund. Just the sheer star power of those names. Sedin, Kessler, Naslund. JT Miller belongs in that conversation. And the fact of the matter is, this isn't a one-off season. This is not gonna not happen again. I don't believe this is gonna be like another Verbata situation where the guy is amazing in the first year and then he totally just crumbles away in the second year. JT Miller is leading the charge on this team. And it's funny. It's really funny, because on a team that has a really, really star-studded superstar, pretty much, in Elias Pettersson, and a back-end phenom in Quinn Hughes, and a goaltender who can win games in Jacob Markstrom, JT Miller is the guy who's carrying the offensive load for this team. And it's so crazy to say that when you have guys like Petey on your team too. Guys like Besser, guys like Toffoli. Oh man, I probably shouldn't talk so highly about my Vancouver Canucks now, shouldn't I? It's just going to lead to me being disappointed when A, hockey doesn't return, and B, when hockey does return and the Canucks end up being bad again. But hey, I am a very, very big believer in this team. And I think we can make the playoffs. I think we will win a few games in the playoffs, and we will see where things go from there. Because JT Miller is a guy who is leading that charge, and the numbers don't lie. They really don't. So I hope you enjoyed this video, Social Life Show 99, and bye.